welcoming Thom Ortiz, Thom, looks like Thom, but it's Thom Ortiz, here to the program on MMAOddsBreaker. Used to be the head wrestling coach at Arizona State University, was a wrestler there as well. I've known him since my days in Phoenix College and the world team stuff. Is now one of the coaches for Henry Cejudo. Amazing, amazing character. If you haven't seen Thom around yet, you need to get introduced to him. First, let's catch up. What are you doing these days? Like, I kind of lost track of you after you left Arizona State University as the head wrestling coach. After that, I kind of lost track of you. What have you been doing since then?
Well, I believe everything happens for a reason, and I got fired in 2009 at Arizona State. And then I fought a couple times in a couple parking lots in a cage. And I said, I'm going to throw my own show. I think I can do this better. And through the luck of God, and October 3rd of 2009, we had we started a show called World Fighting Federation. Came up with a name, started throwing shows. That was our first one in 2009, and last night at Wild Horse Pass Casino, that's our 28th one. So they're both pro-ams. Yeah, you're allowed that in Arizona. Right now, all 28 have been in Arizona, either Tucson or Phoenix.
Okay. All right. So now I know I got to get licensed to ref in Arizona so that you can hire me as your ref next time. See how that works out? See how that I worked that right in there?
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll connect you with the executive director of Arizona Boxing Commission, Matt Valenzuela. They're always looking for, capable people. And shoot, you fought at the highest level, so you know what's up. At least, in my opinion, Amis should be refed differently than pros. That's my opinion.
No, 100%. It's a different. I got lucky with John McCarthy as my mentor in reffing, and then he's so busy he threw Mike Beltran on me and said, "Look, you got take this guy, hold him by his hand, take him through." It's a totally different ballgame out there. Going from fighter to referee is probably one of the most difficult things I've ever done because I have to look at the fight from a totally different aspect. Before, I'm looking at it like, oh, hey, yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay in there. If that was me, I'd be okay. So he must be okay. And then Beltran had to sit me down. I was like, listen, these guys are not you. You are not them. You don't understand what that guy's going through. You have to look at each scenario differently. If that guy's taking a bunch of punches to the head, you got to get in there and stop it. I'm like, oh, crap, you're right. So I had to get in there and I had to start stopping fights, sooner at the AMI level because why does a guy need to go home with brain damage or a broken elbow or, his blood vessels popped in his eye for no money? If you're a pro, okay, this is your job, it's your livelihood. You don't want to tap, break it. Okay? If you don't want to tap, then black all the way out, go ahead, black all the way out. Then I'll stop it once you're out, and that's fine, because that's you getting paid to do it. But amateurs, totally different ballgame. A totally different quick stoppages. Has to be.
Absolutely. And they're in there to get to learn, step in that cage, see how it feels, get the butterflies out, and if it's too much for them and they're unable to protect themselves adequately, you got to err on err on side of safety.
Everyone's got to go home and go. Everyone's got to fight Saturday night. And everyone's got to work Monday morning because they're all amateurs. So they got other jobs. They got to, so we got to be careful. And that's what we're doing now as a ref. And I'm lucky enough to be licensed in California, Hawaii at the pro level. So I ref pro fights in both states. And now hopefully your next show I'll be able to cover your show in Arizona. It's been a cool ride. It's really been an interesting ride for me to learn the sport from a totally different aspect.
I bet. I've always thought reffing a wrestling match would be difficult. MMA has got to be.
Where there's so many different. It's crazy. Like sometimes, I'm like, man, I wish this was wrestling. At least I could I got two other people to help me out. When you're in an international style, there's 3 reps. You have the one on the mat, and then 2 the table, and then the side judge. In MMA, it's just you. It's up to you. Just you by yourself, and there's so much more going on. It's crazy. So, anyway, let's get on to Henry. So, personally, I thought the best matchup for DJ was going to be Henry. This is going to be the matchup. Henry was going to give him some fits. I thought DJ was going to win, but I thought it was going to be later. It was going to take a while to finally figure it out. We talked before the fight, after weigh-ins. Your game plan was solid. The mental capability that Henry had obviously is there is no mental issue with him. This guy's an Olympic champion. We know where this guy can go mentally. Physically, he's amazing. The game plan was good to go. Cage door locks. You're sitting, in your chair, getting ready for the fight to start. what happens? Like, what was going through? Did you see some flaw? Did you see something happen? What went wrong during that fight?
I just think that, well, I talked to his boxing coach and I asked him, what do you think happened? And in his opinion, he thought that in the middle of the fight, he kind of froze for somehow, some way. He just said, I saw something in his eyes and he stopped moving, and then, quite frankly, if you let anyone hold your head, regardless of who it is, that's not good. In wrestling, someone grabs our head, we get our head out. So it was unusual for Henry not to get his head free, even though that they call that a Muay Thai clinch, blah, blah, blah. We do that in wrestling every day. In college wrestling, you double head grab. In folk style wrestling, you double head grab the head. You double hand grab the head all the time. You try to pull it down, then you shoot. So I guess, you guess we could also ask Henry, but in his boxing coach's mind, he froze. He said he stopped moving. And then when you do something like with Johnson, that's not a good situation.
No, and he's so explosive and he's so quick. And honestly, I had DJ as pound for pound the best fighter in the world right now before that fight. And I was getting arguments with people. John Jones is, and then of course you see his fight against OSP. You're like, he's not the same fighter anymore. Like that time off in the law cases and all that stuff is like mess with him. We'll see how Jones does his next fight. Is he back or not? But DJ is pound for pound the best fighter that there is. He's beating everybody that's in his way. And Henry was his toughest challenge to date, and he got through him relatively easily. It looked like. As a coach, how tough is that knowing the reps, the time, the effort that Henry put into every single training session to see the fight go that way? Like, how tough was that for you?
It took me a week to get over it, a good week to breathe and really accept that. He trained hard. There was a time, and it's something that went through my head. And Henry's such a competitor, and he always wants to do what's right. But in this fight game, you have to be selfish. When you're about to fight, you have to be selfish. He hurt his back. And I'm not making any excuses, but the fact of the matter is he hurt his back. He had to get cleared by UFC, to lessen the effect of the pain and so forth. They give him a clearance, and he hurt his back like a week and 2 weeks out. And I was like, whoa, this guy's, obviously after that fight, he's pound for pound the best fighter. But we knew he was one or two. And I said, you got to go into this fight. I understand you get injured, training, but when you're out for 5 days because your back's hurt, and I said to him, hey, maybe, and I didn't want to put doubt in his head, maybe we delay this to another time. And he said, well, Cormier dropped out, and and I was like, okay. And he goes, well, the UFC, they wants me to fight, and he goes, I got to fight. And that's the competitor side to him. And just, and you learn your lesson. No one's invincible. And like I said, DJ did a great job. Whenever you're going to fight someone like that, you have to go in. You can't take 5 days off the back injury to get it back to where you need to be. And still, a week and a half later, you're fighting.
In arguably the second biggest event of his life, so it's like there's a lot of factors going in.
Hindsight 2020.
Right. Oh yeah. So what's the next step?
Absolutely.
What's the next step for you as a coach? Now going, okay, now we got through that. We got to build ourselves back up again to getting another title shot. What do we have to do? So what's the next step for you as a coach to get Henry back on track, to go back up again and get another title shot?
Yeah, well, the bottom line is he decided on a comeback. We're going to come back and make a story out of it, And I said, Henry, your speed, your strength, you have all the capabilities and qualities to beat Johnson.
If you look at the weight class, he's probably Henry's the only one that has that stuff that you're unable to teach. He's fast, he's strong, he's got powerful legs, and how do we get you back to where you need to be to implement that? He's taken on a huge task with Benavidez. Benavidez is experienced. Benavidez is good, and he's a tough kid, and he's a competitor, and that guy likes to fight. So we got a work cut out for us. Absolutely. Preferably for me, I'd rather have him fight someone else, out of the top 5, to get some more fights under his under his belt, then fight Benavidez. But this is the route he chose with his manager. So be it. I hopefully he's getting compensated well. I really don't get him that part of it. The UFC having him jump back in against a high quality opponent like that.
On another tough show, like I don't watch the tough shows anymore. I stopped watching around season 4. I'm as interested in the fights that are on a tough show. So, but all that drama that comes with being a coach on the show and then being a part of it, and then now you have to fight the guy that you've been arguing with and trying to beat. It becomes a big deal. Like this is a huge coming off a loss like this and then have him with Benavidez getting this whole thing put together. It becomes a bit of an issue. Like there's a lot of stuff going on now for Henry, but he likes that kind of pressure. He likes that kind of extra things he's got to do. I think he's one of those kids that likes that kind of stuff. I just hope it's not too much for him this early in his MMA career. It seems like it could be a little overwhelming because I saw the way he fought. That's not the way I saw his other 10 fights. That's not the way he fought his other 10 fights. In that fight, when you say he froze, because I watch him and I pay attention to him, I saw it too when DJ grabbed his head. I saw him kind of go, uh-oh, I'm in a head tie. Like, am I still fighting or am I wrestling? Like, I'm not sure which way to go. And then he just started getting knee to the body and then fell down. Like, he didn't know what to do. And that's just lack of experience. He's only 10-1. He's not 22-1. He's not 33-1. He's 10-1. That's only 11 fights, and he fought pound for pound the best fighter in the world already. Now he's going to step into another very, very tough guy with Benavidez. As a coach, you got your work cut out for you because he's being thrown to the highest level very, very quickly because perception is he can handle it. But we don't know till he handles it. So that's part of the problem.
Yeah, that's all part of the process. The mentality, it's mental, just like wrestling. But MMA, you got a lot more stuff coming on. You got elbows and punches and knees and kicks and all types of different submissions. So, your awareness has to be to the highest level. So, mentally, wrestling's a mental game. I get all that. But man, in MMA, there's zero room for doubt. You have to have 100% belief going in there. I don't care who you're fighting with that 4-ounce glove. Look what happened to Verdum last night. That was 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
Yeah, and he was charging like an idiot. Like he just like rock'em sock'em robots. And Stipe said in the post-fight interview, he's like, I was just trying to get out of the way. Like he was charging me. I didn't know what to do. I just kind of threw the punch out there, and he fell down. I'm like, he's like, yeah. I was like, he was charging at me. I don't know what to do. So like. Verdum thought for sure if he overwhelmed Stipe, he'd get him to the ground and submit him. And Stipe was just like, I'm just going to use my wrestling footwork to get out of the way and hopefully I can survive this. And now he's the champ. And that's what happens in MMA. Like, I'm just trying to get out of the way and somehow I won. Like, it's like, this is MMA. This is how it goes. It's amazing beast. It's an amazing beast.
Yeah, you just when you think you got it all figured out, someone else does something else to be like, oh, well, I guess I can't always move that way. You know what I mean? Because then you got the spinning back kick, spinning fist, and spinning elbows, and so it becomes a lot more. It's infinite. It's like a globe, and all the different angles are, whatever you make of it. Boxing's great, but there's certain things in boxing that are standard that in MMA you can throw from different angles because of the smaller glove, and you land and you hit that tempo, you hit that chin. Well, when Santos hit the back of Cane's head, Cane's one of the toughest guys I know. I've seen him go through a 3-hour wrestling practice as a heavyweight. He went down. He got hit in the back of the head with the overhand right. That wasn't any weakness. That was just being a human. So That's what I love about MMA. It's ever changing, and it only gets better. I dig it. I watched that fight with Verdum, even though my show was going on. I was surprised to see him run at him like that, and I had 8 great fights yesterday, 4 amateur, 4 pro, and no one did that in the 8 fights. And these are guys with less than 10 fights, and haven't been around that long. I guess he was just trying to get him to the ground and get his submission. I'm unsure what it was going through his head.
No idea. We have to try to get a hold of somebody in his camp and find out like what was the game plan, like what was he thinking. It could have just, who knows? I mean, who knows in those situations? It could have been the game plan. It could have been what they plan on doing, but it also could have been, I just thought I saw it. I saw it when we came out. I knew that this was going to work for me, so I went after it. And that's just sometimes what the athlete does. So we'll have to figure this one out. It's incredible. Yeah,
it'd be good if he explained it. I'd like to know what was going through his head. I did talk to Henry, and he said, yeah, he hit me with knees that I never felt before, and all his 10 fights. He only got kneed once or twice in all those 10 fights, and one of them was on my show, his first one. The guy came jumping out, flew in with a knee, and then hit Henry, and Henry double-legged him and was able to finish him. And after the show, and he was like, you're right, MMA's different. And I said, yeah, bro, you got knees. And I think the knee really changed everything. Henry has good boxing, obviously. He has good wrestling, obviously. But the knees are,
now he's got to work. Now he's got to work on Muay Thai, or not necessarily work on Muay Thai for an offense, but learn how to defend against knees and elbows, and because now he's getting thrown, different shit's getting thrown at him. It's just the game. So, who else are you coaching besides Henry? Who else do you have in your training camp?
I helped coach Frankie Saenz. Him and Henry train together. Frankie Saenz trains. He trains at Fight Ready. They train at Fight Ready, and Frankie fights July 23rd. Against Eddie Weiland in Chicago. I also have Patrick Williams. We're trying to get him a fight. He fought in Mexico City last year, and he had the fastest submission in bantamweight history for males, 23 seconds, won 50,000, which was good. And then, not bad. That's always good. And so he's here with me now training. He's going to help Frankie get ready. And I got another guy I coached in the UFC was Roman Salazar, and we're trying to get him back in. He's fighting June 18th here locally. We get him a win, and talk to Sean. The kid's game. He got caught in a triangle. It is what it is. You know what I mean? You got to live and learn out in Nashville in August. So we're gonna get more guys back in there, and it's growing. So with my organization, I've put about 5 or 6 guys in the UFC that fought on my show. So we're excited about that, and that makes me feel good. That's it's 29. It'll be July. It's July 23rd in Tucson. So yeah. WFFMMA.com.
That's right. WFFMMA.com. Check it out, especially if you're in the Tucson or Phoenix area. Just another fight promotion. You get to go watch these guys, especially if he's already got 5 or 6 in to the UFC. Imagine what guys you go down there and see that if you've been there a couple of years ago, you could have seen Henry fight, and then all of a sudden now he's fighting for the title. You can follow. It's so much more fun following these guys through the lower ranks, the lower promotions, and all of a sudden, boom, they're in the big show, and they're in a title fight. You're like, well, I remember when that guy fought, Joe Smith, back there in Tucson. Like, that was amazing, and I've seen him his last, it's just so much more fun doing it that way. So,
yeah, I'm thankful for the UFC and making MMA the industry it is, and it allows me to make a living here in Arizona, and I get to spend more time with my children. So, I throw fights full time and I train full time, and I'm 100% in MMA. That's my job.
Good for Tom. Look at that. Look at us. Look at us surviving. Look at us surviving without wrestling. Did we ever think it? We thought for sure. We both thought for sure we'd be wrestlers until the door closed, and then we'd be coaches for the rest of our lives, and our paths went in different directions.
Absolutely. Hey, in 2009, when I got fired, I was like, yeah, what am I going to do now? I've been a wrestling coach my whole life, and I thought I was going to be the ASU head coach that I was going to retire doing that. I'm from Arizona, and I lived here in '09. But, I just believe God had better plans for me to throw me into this MMA game because, I fought a couple times and it was cool and I enjoyed it. We're competitors. It's awesome. And I started coaching these guys in MMA and learning all the different, trades and how it all works in and how wrestling works into MMA itself, obviously.
I'd love to get you riffing, on our next show.
Yeah, I'd love to. We'll chat here in a little bit. I'll send you a text. I'll call you once we get done with this, and we'll talk about it. Thanks so much for coming on, Thom. I really appreciate it, man. It was great to kind of break down Henry from the inside, from a coach's perspective, and see what's going on. And congratulations on your 28th show with WFF. That's incredible. The go from head wrestling coach at Arizona State University, getting fired and going, what am I going to do next? And now 7 years later, you're like, I'm embedded in MMA. All I do is coach and train and run fights. That's all I do. So good for you, man. Good for you. Thanks so much for coming on, man. We'll talk again soon.
Hey, man, I'm honored to be on here. I'm glad you had me on there. I thank you very much.
All right, we'll talk later, Thom.
All right, brother. Peace.